Hello my friends, welcome back. Today we are playing with the Artsy products from this month's club release from Spellbinders Club Kits. This is the August 2024 Club Kits, and I've got here an array of some of my projects which I've already shared and a partial one that we're doing today. Now we are going to Glimmer today. This is just a sampling of what I'm going to show you, but this is a 5x7 and the Glimmer plate is only A2. So we are going to create a 5x7, but that's not all. We are also going to be stitching and using our beautiful stitching palette as the forefront of our glimmered card. So we've got two parts in the video. We're going to glimmer and we're going to stitch. So I hope you'll stick with me and enjoy the process of both. So this month we do get the rainbow foil, and that is so much fun because, like I said, the rainbow is so pretty. So let me grab my glimmer machine and we will glimmer real quick, and then we will jump to the stitching and putting together of our card. Alrighty, here we go. Now the way this plate is intended to be used, it's intended to be done as an A2 like so. What I'm going to do is just maneuver this on my platform here and turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer while I'm doing this. Turn this around so that we're moving this up towards the top of our platform like so. Of course, be careful because the platform is hot. Like that. And now we're going to cut a piece. And if you're not getting the better press, if you're not getting the Glimmer of the month this month, but you're interested in the rainbow foil, it is called Mini Rainbow Stripe. So that is the foil that we're using today. And I'm using the brushed black cardstock from Spellbinders. Do you see here? It's got kind of a light shimmer to it, and it's really soft and got a sheen to it kind of, and that is really good for your glimmering. So I do still like to kind of go super slow when you go through the Platinum 6 and give it time to adhere just to be on the safe side, but it does adhere quite well. The only thing you may run into from time to time is a little underfoiling, and if your machine does that, just add an extra shim. And when I say shim, I mean a piece of cardstock. So this is going to cover us perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is grab my plates. I've got my two plates here ready, and I'm going to undock this. I'm going to place shiny side of the foil to the shiny side of the plate, and I'm going to lay this right across the top there. I am looking at this line right here because my plate is under that, and I've got it pressed up pretty high to the top there. So see, if you bring it down here like this, you can see where the plate is. So I'm going just like so. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it here and keep that all in place and move it over to my Platinum 6, and I'm going to roll it through slowly. All right, I'm going to plug this back in as we are going to foil again. And here is the reveal. Hopefully we've got that lined up pretty well. And there is our first foil. Turn my timer on so that I can line these up and get the second press like so. Because I'm wanting this part here right in here, and I'm wanting this up part here right in here. And there's going to be a little tiny gap right there, but that's okay because we're putting something over top here. We're putting our palette on top. So that's going to be perfectly fine. So we're letting that heat up until it's fully heated. And while we do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut us a second piece of foil. My timer has just lit up solid. I've got my foil ready. And if you want to continue this pattern of the rainbow, it's gone green, turquoise, and I've got the turquoise here and purple on this end. So if you're particular, you could continue here with the turquoise. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this, lay my shiny side to my foil again. And this time I'm going to lay this down here so that I know where this bottom portion is, because that's where I'm going to want this portion of my plate to fall, so I can attempt to not have an overlap there. We might have a little bit over here, but I believe that's just dots right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're just going to see what happens. All right, I ran it through really slow through my Platinum 6 to give it as ample time to transfer, and we will see how we did. There we go. And now we have a foiled background. So I am totally happy with that. You've got it kind of grooving on in there, and it looks like it is ready to go. So I'm going to clean all this up and get our stitching out, and we will continue to the next segment. Okay, I've partially assembled our palette so far. I've stitched all of these, and I've put the area for the pin to be done in there. And as you can see, when you die cut this out, it gives you the placement right there for these squares or rectangles. Now, if you're not into stitching, the kit itself is made for non-stitchers as well. So if you love this palette, but you're not crazy about stitching, this die here is given to you. And my friend over at Stationery by Justine Dvorak, she actually has created a gorgeous, you got to go check it out, a gorgeous palette, and has used all the Spellbinders glitter cards with this die, no stitching, and she put them here in rainbow order, and it is fabulous. So you can do it with or without stitching, and make sure you check out her video because she is the stitching queen. She has wonderful tutorials on the beginner stitcher, and all the different stitching know-how is over on her channel. So I am going to go ahead and do all the little stitching here. In my first sample that I did with this set on here, I showed you how to do the pen or the paintbrush the easy way. No stitching on here. I used the solid pieces here for the gold at the end at the end of both ends of the brush. And then I just put a little color here as the paint. Did not do any stitching in the handle at all. Now I'm going to show you the other way. So we will stitch up this color here in the purple, and then I've got some red for the paint, and we will start off with this little tiny piece here, and I'm going to show you a trick that a friend of mine, her name's Lisa, that she gave me, and she said use your double stick adhesive. And so I put double stick adhesive on the backs of these, and I had these leftover rolls from all of our club kits. So if you put a double stick adhesive piece back here and you pull that off, then there's no reason for knots. So actually, you know what? I think I want to do this piece in gold. So let me do this piece in black. So let's pull this one off. We'll do the gold next. So check this trick out. So I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to lay that right down there into that tape. And we're going to be gluing this down anyways. So it is going to be just fine holding it in the meantime right there in that tape for us. And talk about quick and easy to start your stitching. Now I did not have a black thread, so this is actually an ombre thread, which gets a little gray. So it's gonna look a little odd, but that's okay. I'm all right. I don't think it'll be that noticeable. So let's see how that looks. It's just 3 long stitches is all that handle is. So I'm going to go ahead and just add another piece of tape here at the end. I'm going to pull it a little taut, pull it down, hold it. And I've done this before, but I've never thought to actually start it like that. And it just makes it so easy when you're starting to not have to worry about knotting it. So I'm just going to do that, and that is going to end up being glued in place right in here. But before we do, we've got these other little pieces to stitch, starting with this piece I want to do with gold. Now these pieces usually are gold, so I thought I would stitch it in gold to make it look a little different than the actual handle, or barrel, I guess you would call it. So I'm going to do this piece in gold and this piece in gold so they match. So since this little piece here is stitched in this sample, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this one in the gold. Here again, I'm going to catch the end of this in that tape and go ahead and do these 3 stitches across. You know, there's something about all the little details that is so much fun. So I'm just going to use that piece of tape that's there to catch that last little piece, and I might put another piece of tape over it, but you know what, we're going to be gluing it down. I'm going to be gluing it right here, right like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just glue it rather than worrying about adding more tape to it. We will just add the glue and hold it in place, right like this. And I used the brushed black with this piece too that I used in the background. And I'm going to line that up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get a clear block, sit right like so. All right, then we will go ahead and do the red for the paint on the paintbrush. Both of these next 2 items, the paintbrush tip, the brush itself tip, and the block of purple, are the same exact stitch. They're all going to the center circle, which is the center circle here. So you're just stitching around from the outside in to that center circle, which a lot of the Spellbinder stitches are, which makes them really easy to follow. If you're not quite sure about getting into stitching, you can always just look at how simple these stitches are, because most of them are starting from the outside of an item and going all into the inside hole, which makes your stitching itself quite simple. So you see I've attached that piece right there in the inside. I'm starting on the outside hole and I'm going down into the inside hole. And even though this is like a teardrop shape, it's still all going to be stitched from the outside hole to the inside hole. Same with our rectangle that we're going to be doing in purple. Outside hole to inside hole. Super simple all the way around. And if you're keeping it a little bit taut, that's really good. I'm stitching with 2 strands of the DMC thread. It comes with 6 strands in a skein. So I do separate it and use only 2 of the strands. But it is a very simple stitch. And the majority of the stitches that Spellbinders uses is either a straight stitch or a stitch like this. And look there, you're done. So then you just turn it over. And in this situation, since I have a bunch of stitches, I'm going to go ahead and just tuck my needle and thread through 3 stitches one way, 3 stitches another way, 3 stitches that way, and go all the way around. And that's going to knot my thread. I just do it 3 or 4 times. And now my threads aren't going anywhere. And I can just cut it off. And it is done. So there we've got our paintbrush. We've got that there. We will glue this here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and glue this gold piece back here on the back. And this piece actually covers the stitched holes. Okay. That's the reason I added the gold right there, so it would coordinate. And then for this one, we will add these. And I like to put some dots of glue on the actual stitching itself. I am pretty generous when I'm doing my stitched pieces on the final project, just because I don't want them going anywhere. I'm a real big stickler about my pieces being really secure. So that's just me, but that's one reason I use liquid glue a lot instead of tape runners. But then I will just put that on there, and we will move on to the purple. You'll see here what I mean by cutting a 6-strand piece of thread off the skein, and then I'll separate 2 out of here. Super easy. Got them 2 on one side, 4 on the other, and then just twirl. Put a finger in there and follow it. Twirl if it gets stuck a little bit more, and you're done. Super simple. Now just thread your needle. There we go. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Outside to the inside. Outside hole to inside hole all the way around. Outside hole. Stick that in the tape. Get it good and secure. Inside hole. Outside, inside. Outside, inside, and so forth. Last one. Straight down to the center, and we are done. Like I did last time, I'm just going to tuck my stitches, or my thread, under these stitches a few times, and then trim off. Okay, I'm going to glue that one in place real quick. Make sure it's lined up right where you want it. Got a little smear there on the metallic paper, but that's okay because it'll come off. It's a nice thing about using the metallic paper, the mirror card, is your glue does wipe off the little moisture. So we can fix that. Get it right where you want it, and then put your acrylic block on there. And meanwhile, our paintbrush is done and beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that palette in place. And actually, I have one already on a card base. So let me go ahead and grab that. That's the other one I made previously. They turned out pretty much the same. So let me go ahead and grab that one since it's on the card base already. And we will put this down. All right, I'm going to put that at a diagonal. It fits beautifully on a 5x7, which I adore. It also makes for a gorgeous mini slimline. So, but I love my 5x7. So if you are a 5x7 lover, this is right up your alley, guys. Check it out. Is that not gorgeous? I am in love. Love, 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 love. Now let's take our paintbrush and we will go ahead and give it a little love of glue. Make sure we go over all that stitching back there. And the back end of it too. We will lay that right. Do we want it that way or do we want it this way? How about we do this one down since I did the other one up? Be just a little different. There we go. Cool. I'm going to show you a little walkthrough of all 8 cards that I've made this month with the Spellbinders Club kits here in just a minute. A little show and tell. And I think I'm going to just put this right down here in the corner. Just like the paintbrush is pointing down so you look at the sentiment. It's kind of what I was thinking here. You make life colorful. So there is this card all created with you in live time. We did such a great job together, don't you think? Now, you could, like my other one, put crystals here in the center. That's what I did with my other card. And let's go ahead and look at all of my cards from this month. Do a little show and tell. There's a couple you may not have seen. This is my 5x7 in the other direction. So those are my 2 using the stitching of the month, the glimmer of the month. This is the better press background of the month, also stretched to make a 5x7. The small die of the month. I've also used the glitter paper from Spellbinders and the new treasured cardstocks from Spellbinders. If you've not checked the treasured cardstocks, check the link below. They are amazing. And the brushed black. Let me grab my other cards here to get these items out of the way so I can grab my bin. A little show and tell. For those of you that held out and watched the end of the video, you'll have to say, I love the show and tell. So here is my other glimmer, and this is just super simple glimmering. I used the Zadora or one of those kind of shimmery blue ones on top of a blue cardstock. That's also from that Scrapbook.com paper pack that I used in this card. So if you saw that video, that's linked in that video. This is my better press card that we made in the video, if you've not seen that. This is the card we made yesterday with the floral video. I just love the way this turned out. 3D embossing folder, stamp and die of the month, large die of the month back here. This sentiment is also with the stamp and die. Super love the way that turned out. This one I don't think I've shown. This one here is my wax seal. I made this wax seal using the mix that they gave us this month. I added a little gold to the hello with the markers, and then this is a sprig from the large die of the month, and I used some Vivant trim in another piece from that same paper pack. Here is the stencil of the month, made a sympathy card. Love the way that turned out. And then my large die sample, which I showed in my reveal video for any of you that got to catch that. So here are all my cards for this month. I'm actually going on vacation with my husband to Alaska on the 11th this month. So this will be my last club video of this month, but I did want to share my favorites this month in these videos, and I thoroughly enjoyed this caboodle this month. This caboodle was amazing. At first I wasn't sure. I really wasn't. When I set my eyes on it the first time, I was like, what are they thinking? But then I played and I really got into it and I loved it. So I love the outcome, and I'm really enjoying seeing the samples from the other makers as well. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, my friends.